French President Emmanuel Macron announced on Sunday that France will end its military presence in Niger and put its ambassador out of the country. This comes after the democratically elected president Mohamed Bazoum was deposed in a coup in July. Here to tell us more is international correspondent Annelise Bourges, reporting from Paris.
France is ending its military cooperation with Niger and withdrawing all its troops from the country. The announcement was made by French President Emmanuel Macron late on Sunday during an interview, during which he also said that the French ambassador to the country would be returning home. He repeatedly said that France's sole objective in the region was to fight terrorism, and that the authorities now in charge of Niger were, quote, friends of trouble. Emmanuel Macron insisting that all French presence will indeed be removed from Niger as soon as possible. Now the question is, of course, how they will do that. Authorities in Niger had announced on Saturday that they would be closing the country's airspace to all French aircraft and aircraft chartered by France. Annelise Bourges in Paris for Euronews.
Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you, hopefully elect. All right, and the gig is up for Esau Edom. All right. You know, the cat is out the bag. Everyone is tired of this man. You know, the whole world is in an uproar. All right. It's fighting against this devil. You know, because like any foreign object that you put inside of the body, naturally, the body's going to fight against it. It's going to try to get it out, you know, forcefully. All right. And this is the case with Esau Edom. All right. Where he's an unnatural entity, and the whole earth itself is fighting against this devil. You know, trying to uproot this devil. All right. Out of the earth, man. You know, because of these different philosophies that Esau has made the whole world drunken with, right? And focusing specifically with these Hamite nations, which I always say, you know, it's bad when Ham is getting in your ass, man, because Ham, out of all people, they're some of the most disgusting, low life, dirty. All right, other than outside of Esau, Ham is the worst of the worst to me. You know, and it's to a point where even in the kingdom, you know, ain't gonna be no Edomites, and there ain't gonna be no Hamites nowhere near the palaces. You know, their asses is gonna be outside in the pit somewhere. You know, so you know it's bad if Ham is coming against you. You know, but nevertheless, you know, in recent events, you know, recent news over the past months and years for that matter, all right, but more so recently, over these past few months, you know, with all these coups, all right, you know, and these African countries are basically expelling and getting rid of these puppeteers, or these puppets, these democratic individuals that were set up by Esau. All right. You know, this is why, again, we see these military takeovers within these Hamite nations. All right. You know, because I'm going to go ahead and get this real quick. In Jeremiah. Jeremiah 51. Because I break it down like this. You know, because on another note, the Spirit has me saying this, to whom it may applies. You know, as far as brothers, man, be careful when it comes to these women. All right. You know, and how do you know? Well, the spirit will let you know if you're paying attention. All right. The spirit it'll show you all the red flags, the tall tale signs that this woman ain't no good and go the other way. All right. Because again, be careful, because, you know, dealing with these women, just be careful. All right. Because I always use this example, this comparison, you know, as the scriptures liken Babylon unto a whore, right? And all these nations, they slept with this whore, and now they are feeling that burning. You know, I've never had any type of STD or anything like that, but I'm sure for brothers that know, you know, that been in that situation, you know, you dealing with a chick, and the next morning or the next few days or whatever, you start to feel that sensation, you start to feel that tingling or whatever, you know, whatever it is. Because like I said, I've never been in that situation, but for brothers that know, you know, you start feeling that sensation, you know. And that's the thing with, again, these nations, they've slept with this whore, all right, and now they're feeling that sensation. Now they caught something. They caught some type of STD, and now they're mad. Now these nations are pissed off, you know, but it's too late. All right, it's too late at this point. But Jeremiah 51 verse 7, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. So the Heavenly Father set up America, all right, set up Esau, and Esau, he's used America to plant all his so-called democracy and, you know, his different philosophies throughout the different nations of the world. And we see the results if you've been paying attention. All right, these nations that were once prosperous, fruitful. All right, Esau, he came in, planted his seed. All right, got these nations drunk, and these nations, these countries that were once prosperous, you know, they were once rich in resources, are now third world countries. Venezuela is a beautiful example, you know, as well as many other countries, man, are now third world countries. Esau, he came in, sucked up all the resources. All right, he's broken down these countries, and now these nations, they're tired. So this is why, again, more and more we're seeing these coups, you know, which are happening all over the place, but mainly, like I said, because it's like one after another out there in Africa. All right, with them African nations. All right, you know, one after another. Because again, Jeremiah 51:7, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. And like I said, all these nations, all right, for the most part, man, you know, but more specifically focusing on those Hamite nations, because that's what's, you know, like I said, one after another. That's what's been in the news as of recently. All right, as far as these Hamite nations kicking these, you know, puppeteers out. All right, and they're setting up shop now. You know, they're running the show because they're tired. It says that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. So you see, all right, all these nations were drunken with the different philosophies. You know, and another prime example is what what was taking place out there in Afghanistan. You see, I always use Afghanistan because, you know, people want to shed tears. Oh, it's so bad. And, you know, they want to blame the Talibanians and, you know, paint the picture like they're the bad guys. But reality, the truth be told, ever since America withdrew from Afghanistan and the Talibanians started taking back over. All right, hey, those Talibanians, man, they reestablished order. You see, because at one point, hey, you didn't have those women over there wearing jeans and, you know, twerking and driving and, you know, because you see, that's another thing. All right, you giving these women liberty, all right, or the illusion of freedom, you know, it leads to destruction, chaos, and confusion. And that's exactly what has been going on over there, as well as all these other countries, all right, that drunk this wine. But focusing on what's going on out there, what's been going on out there in Afghanistan, right? Because they're still trying to recover ever since America dipped. They're still trying to recover. They're still trying to reestablish that order over there. You know? You see? Because that's exactly what that's what it is, man. Reestablishing of order. And I'm not even going to get into the details of what's going on over there. All right? But nevertheless, before America went over there, planted their seed of deception, their seeds of deception. All right? Hey, women were in order. You know, things were in a more decency and orderly fashion for the most part. You know, because you wonder why, especially when it comes to a lot of those Middle Eastern countries, cultures. All right, you know why marriages work out more. They're more successful and, you know, things of that nature, which they really stole our customs. All right, you know. And then again, when Esau comes in and plants these seeds of deception, it ruins these nations. It ruins their economies. You know, again, they get sucked dry of their wealth, their resources. You know, and it leaves these nations in a shambles. Well, these nations, they're tired of it. All right, and now the whole world is waking up. The whole world is waking up. You see, let me get this real quick in Isaiah. Because Esau, he's had to spell these enchantments. And that's why the scriptures say, stand now with thine enchantments. Right? Because these spells are wearing off. And everyone is starting to, so to say, detox. They're starting to wake up, which is the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. Right? So I'm going to read this real quick in Isaiah 25:7. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. So you see, all right, that veil is being lifted, so to say. All right, because again, everyone was in so to say, under this spell, these enchantments, and, you know, at one point, people wanted to come over to Babylon to live this so-called American dream. Well, again, people are starting to find out that veil is being uncovered. That, hey, it's really a nightmare. Now people are starting to set up shop, or slack you. They're closing up shop, and they're going back home. They're trying to get the hell up out of here. You see? Because, again, the gig is up. All right? The gig is up, man. You know, we are in the midst of the downfall of this final leg, man. You know, Esau, man. We're in the midst of this final empire. to rule. You know, this is the last leg, man. And we're in the midst of it. We see it. All right. What was I going to get? I was going to get this in what is that? Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as deaf, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And if Japhet was you know, for these people that think that Japhet will be the last nation of people to rule, why aren't there embassies, all right, Japhetic embassies in every country, right? You know, it just doesn't make sense, all right? Because Esau, power was given unto him for a period of time to rule the earth. You see? So everywhere you go, no matter where you go on the earth, or the known earth, I'll say, because there's parts of the planet that Esau hasn't discovered yet, but, you know, whatever country, all right? Hey, Esau, he has his stamp on it. All right? He has his image there. You see? Anywhere you go in the world, or anywhere Esau goes in the world, man, hey, for the most part, he'll be looked at, well, I'll say at one point, he was looked at as God. All right? But hey, he's returning home. You know? A vagabond, on the run, or a wanderer. He's returning back to his natural estate. Because, again, people are tired. People are waking up. They're being detoxified. So I'm going to read it again, Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine. All right, those different philosophies. Democracy. Right? He is a proud man. Neither keepeth at home. Right? Like I said, he, you know, a damn wanderer. Vagabond. Right? You know? always, and this is why he got chased up in the mountains in the first place, because this man, you know, he was always getting chased out of somewhere. You know, this man he's worse than a damn rodent, man. You know, it says, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as deaf, because again, part of his philosophy is because that's what Esau represents. He represents death. You know, they talk about black culture. It's really, this culture really goes back to Esau Edom. He's the original thug. He's the original nigger. All right, and that's why we say we call ourselves so-called black men, because we're not black. All right, Esau, he's the real black man. All right, they're the real black people. They're the real niggas. All right, so that whole black culture, it goes back to Esau. You see, and again, wherever he goes, he plants his seeds of deception, and from there it's just death, destruction, confusion, and chaos. And that's what these nations are finding out. All right. It says, it cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. You see, so these nations, they're tired. All right. We're at the end of the line for Esau Edom, man. To get this. Where's that at? That's Isaiah. Isaiah. That's not what I wanted, but it's good nevertheless, because like I read in Jeremiah 51. All right, talking about that golden cup in the Lord's hand. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, right? Isaiah 14:4. Thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. And who's the king of Babylon? Esau, because again, Esau, the Heavenly Father uses Esau, and Esau in turn he used Babylon to. I'm talking about the top wicked elites. Used Babylon to spread all this madness throughout the four corners of the earth. All right. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how have the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. So, like I read in Jeremiah 51. All right, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. Right? The Lord had broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. All right? You know, so that with a continual stroke. Right? And an example of that, which comes to mind, because you got, I forget which Hamite nation it was. It might have been Nigeria. I forgot exactly. But, you know, this particular nation of Ham, because they're not down with the ABC, LGB, community, hey, they got cut off from the international funds. Esau cut them off from receiving international funds, right? I believe sanctions were put on them. If I could be wrong on that, but they definitely got international funds cut off. They're cut off. All right, in which it also makes sense why more and more nations are going to start joining, are already joining, but more and more nations are going to start joining the BRICS. All right, more and more of these nations are going to start moving over to the BRICS, which is going to lead to World War III on another note. Matter of fact, Revelation 17. I'll start at verse 7. Oh, I'm sorry. Revelation 17:1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying, Unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Talking about Babylon. Because like I said, before, Babylon is likened unto a whore, and hey, you sleep with a whore. That's why I said be careful, on another note. Because, once you catch something, you come down with something, hey. And that's what that's the deal with these nations. They slept with a whore, and, now they caught an STD, and now they're pissed off. Right? And what is it going to lead to? Reading on verse 2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Right? So, again, all these nations partook in dealings with Babylon, all these seeds of deception, which in turn led to chaos, confusion, destruction, as I read in Habakkuk, is as death. Right? So now these nations, their economies are in shambles. Right? Sri Lanka and all these other places, because of their dealings with Babylon. Right? So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. All right, NATO, the EU, which hell, even NATO and the EU eventually, they're gonna shoot missiles on this place. All of America's allies are gonna turn on America eventually. right? It says, and the woman was arrayed in purple and in scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. So, you know, because John the Revelator, he literally a fine woman. You know, she had to be sexy as all hell. All right, he literally seen this with a woman holding the golden cup. She was decked out, beautiful, right? This golden cup sitting on the scarlet colored beast. He didn't know what it meant, but through the spirit, grace of Yahweh Shemel Shai, you know, we're able to break these things down. And whoever John the Revelator is today, hey, he's breaking down the same thing that he didn't, you know, understand as he was seeing these visions all those years ago. It says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations on the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahweh Shai. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. All right. So I'm going to jump down. I'm going to jump down to verse 16, Revelation 17 and 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. So, you know, that's the point, man. All right. From NATO to EU. All right. Presume to prophecy. Because I mentioned with BRICS, you know. And even more so, Russia. All right. Because this man is so powerful. The only one that's going to be able to take him down is his own self. So, you know, because at the end of the day, them Russian Edomites, them Russians, they're nothing but Russian Edomites. All right, they're still Edomites, and you know, the Lord's going to use Esau to bring down Esau. You see, all right, and just to mention Russia, because like I said, according to prophecy, all these nations, this is what we're seeing more and more. We're going to be joined unto Russia. All right, as we see with the BRICS, I think they're calling it the BRICS Plus now because more and more nations are being joined. All right, so you're going to have the BRICS nations, EU, NATO, all these nations eventually are going to shoot the missiles at America, at Babylon. Because again, as I read in Jeremiah 51, the Lord set up America for a specific purpose. All right, and the gig is up. You know, there's no more need. There's no more use for Babylon. She served her purpose, and now it's time for her to be judged. In which, when you go to Revelation 18, it goes into that judgment. All right, and Revelation 19 goes into the establishing. It's cold, you know, because as I just briefly went through some of these verses in Revelation 17, right? These nations coming together and ultimately destroying Babylon. All right. Revelation 18 goes into the destruction of Babylon. Revelation 19, after the destruction of Babylon, you know, it goes into basically Revelation 19, Revelation 20, 21 goes into the establishing of the kingdom. All right. After America's destruction. You see? But the gig is up. All right. Everyone is waking up. Everyone's tired of Esau. They want Esau to get the hell out of their countries. All right. You know, so Lord willing, this is edifying. All praises to Yahweh Shemel Shai. Shalom to you. Hopefully,